Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. On Friday, Fantasy Flight released a ton of spoilers for Empire at War, pretty much red spoilers specifically. I'm just going to get this out of here right now. Vehicles are going to be awesome in Empire at War, because currently vehicles are very slow. You have to essentially take 3 actions really before you can use it. You have to play it, roll it out, and resolve it. And we have a bunch of cards in this upcoming set that will do stuff depending if vehicles are out, and also stuff that'll let you use vehicles multiple times, play vehicles for free, ready a vehicle for paying resources. So vehicles are going to be awesome, and I'm really looking forward to Empire at War. So our first card we're going to take a look at right now is Sina Ree. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Adept Pilot, 9 health, 8 and 11 for her cost, so Balatic um, points here. 1 more health than Bala. 1 range, +2 range, Disrupt, resource, and blank. And as an action, you can spend 2 resources to ready a vehicle. I'm not sure who this is. I think this is the character that is supposed to be in the new Battlefront game from the trailer I've seen. And it mentions battles over Endor and Jakku. And in the trailer for that, they were doing some stuff over Endor. But, so, 2 damage sides, 2 resource sides. You're going to spend 2 resources to ready a vehicle. So imagine if you have like logistics, you play logistics, get 2 resources for 1, and ready whatever vehicle you have. 8, 11. So even if you just use her for 8, that's still an ability to let you like roll a vehicle out, resolve it, use her ability, pay 2, and ready it. So that's scenery. We're going to take a look at our next card. We'll be right back with that. And we are back with our next card. We have General Hux, Aspiring Commander from The Force Awakens. 11 health, 11, 14 for his points, so kind of Jabba level of, or Jabba point range. 1 range, 2 focus, discard, resource, special, and a blank. And his special is play a red event from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1 for each character you have. So he's going to fit very well into 3 character decks, or 3 or more. So basically, let's say you have a red event in your hand that costs 3. You roll out his special, or somehow trigger it with cunning or something else. You can play that event, that 3 cost event, for free. And so this is going to, I think this is going to be a big target for cunning. So you're going to roll out cunning, resolve it, triggering his special, and just drop events for cheaper or free depending on how many characters you have. So he's going to fit very well in multi-character decks. Even if you only run him at a single die, you're so you have him at 11. You have 19 other points that you can spend on other characters, even like a 4 character deck or something like that. 11 health is also very good. So 11 health for I think 11 points. So it's 1 point per 1 health point per cost for his, at least for his non-elite version. And then you also, if you spend 3 more, you have him at elite. I do like that he has that double focus, so you can focus on the stormtroopers or other characters into better sides. I'm interested to see how he plays, and I like that he's just a rare. Same with the first card we looked at. A lot of these cards in that were spoiled are rare. I think there's only 1 legendary spoiled, I think, in this batch. But that's General Hux. We're going to take a look at our next card. And our next card is the ATDP Villain Red Support Vehicle. So 2 range, +2 range, 3 range for a resource, shield, special, and blank. And the special is discard a card or discard a support that costs 2 or less from play. This will get rid of Planetary Uprising. So you roll the special on this, and your opponent has Planetary Uprising, resolve the special, get rid of Planetary Uprising, get rid of C3PO, get rid of any support that costs 2 or less. And it also has 3, I think, very good damage sides. So the 2, a +2, and a 3 for a resource. And you can, use ruthless tactics on the 3 to you still pay the resource to turn that into 4 damage. So again, Vehicles are going to be really fun with this next set. Also, this next set is going to make Finn a lot more playable than he is now. Currently, I don't think he's played pretty much at all, maybe outside of casual. But with so many more vehicles coming into play, um, more red weapons will come into play as well, or villain red weapons. You'll be able to include a lot more of these vehicles in decks that run Finn. And we're going to be talking about Finn a little bit later in the video when we get to another character that I think will pair very well with Finn. So this is the ATDP. Good damage sides, 3 resources. If you have that new battlefield in play, the weapons factory, if you play this first, you can get this guy out for 2. So the all-terrain defense pod is apparently what it's called. This is from Rebels, I believe. But that's the ATDP. We're going to move into our next card. And our next card is Hera Syndulla, Phoenix Leader, 10 health, 9 and 12 for her points, 1 range, 1 focus, 1 shield, 1 resource, special, and a blank. And special is play a vehicle from your hand for free. After the action phase ends, if that vehicle is still in play, return it to your hand. This card is, I think, going to be insane. Favorite card spoil so far, maybe even favorite character maybe in the entire game, possibly. I'm not sure, but I love that her points are low, so 9 and 12. So you can pair her with almost anybody, maybe except for Luke, unless you run her at or Luke or Obi-Wan. If you run and Mace, I guess. If you run her at 9, if you run her at 12, she still pairs with a ton of other people. We talked about Finn earlier. Finn, you'll be able to run Elite Finn, Elite Hera, include all those villain vehicles in your deck, or villain red vehicles specifically. Use her special, play one of them for free, roll it out, use it. End of the round, it returns to your hand. You can do it again later as well. There is some really cool tricks I think people are going to be using with her. I also like that her health is pretty good at 10. So my theory on this, and I may do a theory crafting deck video in Tabletop Simulator when I proxy this in with some of the other cards that are from Empire or Spirit of Rebellion and Awakenings. But play her with yellow. So play her. You can even do Elite Sabine in a single Hera. You can do Hera, Elite Maz, and and maybe Ezra, like a single die Ezra, or characters like that. So what you do with her, this is just a combo you can do. Play hit and run, roll out Hera, roll out Maz with ambush, focus Hera into her special. The vehicle that you play a quad jumper. Quad jumper hits the board. Next, if the quad jumper is still out in the next part of the turn, like it hasn't gotten destroyed by your opponent yet, you use its action, or you roll it out, resolve it. Later in the turn, you can use its action to play another vehicle for less, and then you play something big like a Ywing, a Millennium Falcon, or something like that. And then, since the vehicle that you play for free is no longer in play, the Millennium Falcon, Ewing, whatever you use the quad jumper to get into play, should be able to stay in play, because it says after the action phase ends, if that vehicle is still in play. That vehicle referring to the quad jumper. Doesn't refer to the Millennium Falcon, because you pop the quad jumper ability to get that Falcon out for less. So I think she's going to. I just really want this card right now. I absolutely love what they're doing with this card. This makes all those expensive, 5 or 6 cost vehicles playable for free. And you might not get to keep the vehicle out during the next round because it'll bounce to your hand unless you somehow find a way, like I said, get it out with the quad jumper or something like that. But I think her sides are good. She's got focus, damage, resource, shields, and so on. So I'm really looking forward to maybe pairing her with Finn, pairing her with Maz and somebody else, pairing her with 2 hired guns. So the hired guns have good resource sides. So you can also just play vehicles with the money that you've getting from them if you're resolving them for resources. And again, her health, 10 health for 9 or 12 points is really, really good. She's just going to be a lot of fun to play, and has so many options of people that you can pair her with. So That's Hera Syndulla. Like I'm gonna say probably my favorite card, at least in what's been spoiled so far, and for what this does for vehicles, maybe my favorite card in the game. Really want to get this. I love that it's just rare, so it should be fairly easy to get. We're gonna move into our next card. And next up, we have Rookie Pilot, 7 health for 7 points. Red non-unique, a red hero non-unique, plus 2 range, a shield resource, 2 blanks, and the ability after you activate this character, you may re-roll one of your vehicle dice. So let's say you roll out a vehicle, doesn't roll particularly well, activate your Rookie Pilot, roll it in, and then re-roll a vehicle that you didn't roll well on. Also, if you play like Wingman on this, you can roll out a character, roll him out with Wingman, and then do the vehicle trigger as well. So if you're running a lot of vehicles that have a lot of range damage, he's just going to be able to add +2 to that damage. Again, 2 blanks, so this might be somebody that you just roll once, you don't roll well, but you get to re-roll a vehicle, and then maybe you focus this to the +2 or something like that. So kind of just a generic pilot. I think it fits thematically where you get to re-roll the vehicle, and then it also has modified damage, so it's like kind of like support fire kind of thing. So that's the Rookie Pilot. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels, hero support vehicle, 4 resources, 2 range, 3 range for a resource, 2 disrupt, 2 shields, 2 resources, special, and no blanks. Special, resolve another side of this die. So if you roll the special, you can say, I'm going to resolve it for the 3 damage and pay the resource, or resolve it for 2 damage. Cards and abilities that will let you roll out a vehicle again. So strategic planning, I think, is going to be a great card now because you have all these vehicles. You can roll out a vehicle, resolve it, play strategic planning, and ready it. Or if you're playing against an opponent that has a lot of vehicles, you can actually exhaust their vehicles as well. But roll it out again, resolve it again. You can use cunning on this. Basically, you have 2 of almost anything you could really want. So 2 resources, 2 shields, 2 disrupt, and 2 or 3 damage. So this is the Ghost. I like that it just costs 4. Again, if you have that battlefield out, that reduces the cost of the first vehicle. You can get this out for 3. You can get it out for free if you roll it in with Hera as well. It'll bounce to your hand if the vehicle is still out. But Ghost, really cool. Like that it has no blanks, and it pretty much can do a little bit of everything. So you got damage, disrupt, shield, resources, and then whatever you roll the special, you get to pick one of the sides to resolve. Be like, hey, in this situation, I really need some extra resources or some extra shields, or that character only has 3 health left. I'll resolve the special, pay a resource, and defeat that character. So that's the Ghost. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have the Ywing, 3 resources, red hero vehicle, 2 range damage, 2 disrupt, 2 specials, and 2 blanks. And special, force an opponent to deal damage to their characters distributed as they wish, or lose resources until they have dealt and lost a combined total of 4. So they can deal 2 damage to their characters, lose 2 resources, lose 3 resources, deal 1 damage. This feels very, very thematic. I like that it has disrupt on it as well. So the Y-Wings in the movies and the books and whatever they're bombers. They come in, they bomb stuff, they blow things up, and I think that the special and the damage sides on this represent that very well. So you come in, you essentially blow up like a supply depot or something like that, and they lose 2 resources. Or you do the special, and essentially they take damage, but they also take damage by losing resources. Again, roll it out. You can roll it out for free with Hera, and then do a bunch of stuff with it, bounce it to your hand, things like that. Vehicles again, awesome in this set. Can't wait to play just like a massive vehicle deck and have pretty much like every kind of vehicle in the game in your deck. Problem with that though is if you play against Kylo, Kylo can pull like an expensive vehicle and just deal a massive amount of damage. But really looking forward to it. Like the special, and then of course You could use something like a data pad or anything that lets you change to non-damage to go to the special, which essentially uh, deals. If they have no resources, it's going to deal 4 damage. If they have 4 resources, they can just lose all those. So I do like if you're playing a disrupt heavy deck, you can disrupt their resources, resolve this special, and do 4 damage. So that's the Ywing. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have Natural Pilot, neutral red upgrade, 4 resources, +2 range, +3 range, 2 focus, 2 disrupt, 2 shields, blank, and after you activate the attached character, you may ready a vehicle. So you throw this on one of your pilots, you roll, let's say you roll out a vehicle first, resolve it, roll out the character that has natural pilot, you can then get to ready that vehicle. I like the sides, so you have 2 damage sides, a 2 and a +2 and a +3. You have 2 focus, 2 disrupt, and 2 shields. So very good sides overall. 4 costs I think is good because you can play like a cheap 2 cost upgrade on them and then overwrite to get this on there as well. Really like this ability, especially with what they're doing with the vehicles. So if you have multiple vehicles, you can roll them and then react or active ready one of your other vehicles. Roll that vehicle out. They're definitely the game. I think is definitely going to be a much slower pace with Empire at War, which I really like because it felt like in Awakenings and Spirit of Rebellion we had these vehicles and these supports that net would never see play just because of how slow they were. I think this set is going to favor a more slow, methodical pace. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, I'm super excited. And I really like this because you have good damage and just good sides overall. 2s on everything. So you can get whatever you need almost. Shields, disrupt, focus, damage. So that is Natural Pilot. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have Imperial Backing. Villain Red Event, 2 resources. Has Ambush, so you get to do another action after you play it. Play a support from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1 for each character you have. So if you have 3 characters, you can play some. It's going to cost you 3 less. If you have 2, it's going to cost you 2 less. 2 resources to do this. This is going to go really well with General Hux. So General Hux states when you roll his special, you can play an event from your hand, decreasing its cost by the number of characters you have. So if you have 2 characters, this comes out for free. You get Ambush. You then can play a support from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1 for each character you have. So if you have 3 characters, you can get out an ATSD for 3 resources. I'm also really loving the fact that really expensive vehicles like ATSCs, Falcons, and things like that are going to be. There's a lot of cards that will decrease the cost of vehicles just to make them more playable because um, more often than not, you're probably not going to really be hoarding resources unless you're playing like an Unkar deck or something like that, where you can just make tons and tons of money, or like with hired guns. But I like that it pushes those vehicles to be more affordable in decks that aren't just heavy resource generating decks. Again, like Unkar Java, or I think Thrawn Unkar will be a very resource heavy deck. I remember when I proxied that deck, I think I had Thrawn on my proxy dice on his 2 resource sides, both of them, and I had Unkar on a 2 and a +2, so I was able to get 6 resources in one resolution. But not all decks are going to generate that amount of resources, and I like that cards like this will make those vehicles playable, even the decks that aren't focusing just on getting resources. And then especially on this card, after you play that support, it's got ambush. You just go ahead and roll it in. So that is Imperial Backing. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have Red Alert, 3 resources. Villain Red Event. Ready a non-unique red character. So pay 3 resources and ready a Death Trooper or a Stormtrooper or any other red non-unique characters. So to do this, I think 3 is expensive, but then you have to. I think they're designing this to be played with General Hux. So basically, I think any red event going forward now, you're going to have to. We're going to have to just like look at the costs, the resource cost, and then think. Well, General Hux is a thing. General Hux is going to reduce the cost of these um, events by the number of characters. So if you're playing, let's say, Hux and a Death Trooper, I think maybe like Hux, Death Trooper, and something else. If that fits into points, I'm not sure. But like let's say Hux, Death Trooper, Stormtrooper, or whatever it might be. You have 3 characters. This is a free event if you're using Hux's special. So 3 resources, ready a non-unique red character. If that character is loaded up, you just roll them out again and do a bunch more damage. Maybe defeat a character or two. And that's about it. So that is Red Alert. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Reckless Reentry. 1 resource, Red Hero event. Choose a die on one of your vehicles in play and roll it into your pool. Then discard that vehicle. If it's die just rolled a blank. So, kind of risky because if you roll a blank, you're going to lose that vehicle. Essentially, it's a kind of thematic like you're re-entering the atmosphere of a planet. You did it wrong and you lost control and crashed your ship and it blew up. But good thing you have the Ghost because the Ghost has no blanks. Anything that has any kind of vehicle that has no blanks on it is going to be pretty awesome with this. So let's say the smart thing to do would obviously be use strategic planning first. So strategic planning, roll out your vehicle, resolve it. Strategic planning lets you ready it, roll it out again, resolve it. And if you use up, you can let's say you have both strategic plannings out. You can then use reckless reentry, and then you roll it. If it's a blank, it gets discarded. But if you're rolling again like the Ghost has no blanks, you're then pretty much safe. So you just kind of have to be careful. If you don't want to do this on a vehicle that has more than 1 blank, I would probably recommend just doing it on stuff that has none. But you can roll out a Falcon again. Again, 1 in 6 chance of rolling the blank. If you happen to lose the Falcon or lose whatever vehicle, you're probably going to be wanting to be playing a battlefield that'll let you get those vehicles back, like the Starship Graveyard or maybe the Ascension Gun. If you're not playing on Starship Graveyard but you brought it, Ascension Gun, get that vehicle back with that. So this is going to be a little bit risky, but it may have a huge payoff. You may end up just rolling exactly what you need to win a game with reckless reentry. And then again, if you use it with the Ghost, you're not going to have to discard it because there's no blanks on the Ghost at all. So that's reckless reentry. We're going to move into our next card. Next up, we have Rally Aid. It's a hero red support, 1 resource. As an action, you can exhaust this support to reveal a random card in your hand. You may play that card, decreasing its cost by 1 or by 2 instead if it's a vehicle card. So you kind of take a chance. You kind of probably maybe even do this thing like when you're discarding, you just fan out your cards in front of your opponent. They pick one, and once they do, that's the card you reveal. You get to play it, decreasing its cost by 1. So essentially, you're paying 1 resource to get this out, and then whenever you use it, you're decreasing a cost of a card by 1. And then if it happens to be a vehicle, it gets decreased by 2. So if you do that, you can get out a Millennium Falcon for 3 resources, a Ewing for 3. You can get out a Ywing with this for 1. So that's what I was talking about earlier, where it looks like this set is going to favor a more methodical, drawn-out process, which I'm really looking forward to. I can't really state that enough about how excited I am for this set. Can't wait to get it. Hopefully, I think this set they're supposed to have a bigger print run. Hopefully, I'm not sure, but Rally Aid, really cool, pretty cool support. However, this will get blown up very easily by Sabotage. Could get blown up very easily by the ATDP because that blows up or can destroy a support or discard a support that costs 2 or less. But that's Rally Aid. Could be useful to get out some more of those expensive vehicles without paying their full cost. We're going to move into our next card. And we are back with Shield Generator. 1 resource, Hero Red Support. Before one of your supports would be discarded from play by an opponent's card effect or die, you may instead discard this support from play. So pay 1. Essentially, it acts like an ammo belt for supports or vehicles, and particular. Or if somebody wants to get rid of your planetary uprising and you have a shield generator, you lose a shield generator, and planetary uprising gets to stay on the board. Um, Pretty cool. Like that, it just costs one. Like I said, basically ammo belt for vehicles because there's a lot of cards now. Looks like that will help or make it easier to get rid of supports. So, and there's already a couple cards from like sabotage from um, Spirit of Rebellion, the ATST special from Awakenings, things like that. So this will allow you to keep out those supports just a little bit longer because this will get discarded before the actual vehicle does. So that is the shield generator. We're going to move into our next card. And final card here, we have Fallback, neutral red event, 4 resources. Each player may choose one upgrade, starting with you. Discard all upgrades from play that were not just chosen. So essentially, I'll play this and say I'm going to keep my holdout blaster. And then it'll go to the opponent. They choose an upgrade. Anything that didn't get chosen is discarded. It says it only does it with upgrades, so I don't think this hits vehicles. So, but this is incredibly cool because let's say you're playing against a Ray deck, Ray, Vibro Knives, Force Speeds, all kinds of stuff like that. You play this, you choose what upgrade you want to save. They choose an upgrade to save. They discard the rest. So if they have, let's say, they're going to have to decide: do I want to keep the Force Speed? Do I want to keep the Vibro Knife? Do I want to keep the Lightsaber? Do I want to keep whatever it may be? They only get to keep one upgrade, or each player only gets to keep one. So this, again, in a Hux deck, you can get this out for a lot cheaper, depending on how many other characters you have. So if you have Hux and 2 more characters, you can get this out for 1. Essentially, and let's say you don't have a whole lot of upgrades already out, and your opponent has a ton. This will basically just kind of like what in Magic they call it a board wipe. This doesn't exactly like wipe the board entirely, but it basically just removes all upgrades from all players with the exception of the one that you decided to save. So that's Fallback. That's the final card that was spoiled. I am really looking forward to this. I'm super, super excited. Can't wait to just build an awesome Hera deck, or Hera, however you pronounce her name, that is just vehicle, like playing vehicles, getting them out for free, popping the quad jumper, playing a Ywing or a Falcon, and doing all kinds of cool stuff with vehicles. Still a bunch more spoilers. I'm sure Fantasy Flight will be releasing in the coming weeks, but this set of spoilers is just awesome. This really almost changes the game of Destiny because vehicles have always been in the game, but nobody really played them outside of maybe casual or outside of the starter decks because with the TIE fighters and things like that. So this is they said they wanted to make or focus more on vehicles, and Fantasy Flight, at least with Red, is delivering on that. So many cool vehicles, so many cards that do interesting things with vehicles, whether it be letting you activate them again, or reducing the cost of vehicles, or being able to resolve them for free. All kinds of awesome stuff. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. I want you to take care, and thanks again for watching.